Hello and welcome to a brand new series called If You Like This, Then You Might Like These 5 Fragrances. This series is inspired by algorithms, social networking algorithms that we all see all the time. We're on YouTube, Facebook or Instagram. We're constantly being recommended different things because we've watched this or because we've watched that, and the algorithm tries to pinpoint what we would like next. So I've tried to do that, but I have no fancy algorithm. I just have my brain and nearly 9 years of smelling fragrances, which is a bit weird, but here we go. So today we're going to be talking about Dior Sauvage. It's one of the most popular fragrances of all time. It's not something that I'm actually personally a fan of, but people absolutely love it and adore it. So in this series, which is going to be hopefully continuing until the end of time, we're going to have 5 categories to help you on your journey if you like the fragrance that's presented in this video. So the first one is going to be a straight up clone, as in a clone that is pretty much exactly the same as the fragrance, but it's maybe cheaper. The second one is going to be an alternative, but with a twist. So it's something that's on the same lines, but it has something that's somewhat different about it, even if it's ever so slight. The third one is going to be a note sibling. So we're going to take the top note, or the most prevalent note of that fragrance, and we're going to find a fragrance that has the exact same note that you might like. The fourth category is going to be a further adventure, as in you liked this fragrance, and so where do you go now? And I'm going to try and plot a map forward for you. And the fifth and final category is going to be the wild card, where I'm going to go out on a limb and say, look, you might like this fragrance, you might not. The wild card is not for the faint of heart, it's for somebody who wants to really try something, well, wild. So what is a straight up clone of Dior Sauvage? Well, there's Armaf Ventana. This is a clone that I have actually never personally smelt, but after doing research on Dior Sauvage clones, this is the one that keeps popping up, and this is the one that people keep recommending and talking about. I could totally understand Armaf are very, very good at their clones. I found that out personally. So this is a cheaper alternative, a cheaper fragrance, and it is apparently extremely similar to Dior Sauvage. So if you've just finished Dior Sauvage but you don't want to pay the same money, you can check that one out. So the second category is an alternative but with a twist, and I own this one. This is Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. This has had a lot of different comparisons to Dior Sauvage. Some people say, well, it's basically the same thing. Others are adamant that it absolutely smells nothing like Dior Sauvage, but I am in the majority. I think that it has a resemblance to Dior Sauvage, but there are differences. Prada are very, very into their fragrances following the essential sort of Italian ideal of fragrance, which is the cleaner the man, the sexier the man. That's a very, very big discipline and sort of ideology with Italian perfumery, and this is no different. This is Sauvage, but it's cleaned up. It's got more like a talcum powdery kind of smell, and their signature soapiness in this with that metallic accord that Sauvage has. It's basically, you get Sauvage, you throw all the junk out and you go and do a spring clean, and you open all the windows to get some fresh air inside, and that's what Prada Luna Rossa Carbon is. As you can see, I've worn a lot of it. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic, and it's going to be a fantastic fragrance to wear in the spring. Note sibling? Well, the big note in Dior Sauvage is ambroxan, which is basically a synthetic version of ambergris. There are 2 that come to mind. The first one is the obvious one, Versace Dylan Blue. It's had its own comparisons to Dior Sauvage. It's a lot more fruitier, and unfortunately it's a lot more synthetic. So I think it's nice and pleasant, but it's not what I'd actually recommend, because Versace Dylan Blue also is a little bit juvenile. It's a little bit youthful, it's a little bit young, and it just smells kind of common. Instead, what I'd recommend as a note sibling is Ralph Lauren's Polo Deep Blue. This has got that ambroxan, but it's got kind of like quite a deep tropical vibe. There's mango, there's a lot of different tropical fruits in there. It's very fruity, but yet it has a real nice freshness, and it does have the oceanic ambroxan that Dior Sauvage has. Polo Deep Blue is one of the more unique ones from Ralph Lauren. It's something that I smelt it and I thought, yeah, that's good, very good, but it wasn't really enough for me to buy it, but then again, I'm not really the biggest fan of Dior Sauvage in general. So what I would suggest is that you test that one out. Polo Deep Blue is good. It's something that I could imagine I'd get a 50ml of in the end, and I could imagine wearing it easily on a tropical island or a beach on the Caribbean. So it's very good, and that would be my recommendation for you to go and seek out. Further adventure, well, some of you are going to hate me. I'd say Montblanc Explorer. I just would. It's in the same remit of popularity. It's got a similar structure to Dior Sauvage. It's, again, another mainstream darling. It's another fragrance that was just built for compliments, built for attention. And again, it has the adventurous vibe, which people sometimes point out in Dior Sauvage. Dior Sauvage has had the comparisons of being like Adventurous and Bleu de Chanel sort of thrown in a tumble dryer together and then added some metal, and I kind of get that, but this of course is leaning the more citrusy side, the more fruitier side, with some cleanliness as well. But yeah, this is a mainstream hit, it's successful, it's compliment getting, it's all the things that Dior Sauvage is, but it's taking it to a different direction, a more citrusy and a more Aventus-like direction. So if you're a fan of Dior Sauvage and you've never tried Montblanc Explorer, then it could be a natural progression for you. And finally we come to my wild card. Dior Sauvage is very interesting. You know, it's very metallic, it has some citrusy elements, it's very screechy. I already recommended to you Prada Luna Rossa Carbon for that sort of scent, but more cleanly. But if you want to go all the way clean, if you want to go super duper cleanly, I would actually recommend as a wild card Prada Iris Sedre. This is very clean, very modern, and it smells basically like wet, ultra soapy clean shaving cream. I'm actually wearing this one today. This is my scent of the day, and I probably smell like the cleanest man in the whole of the town. It's incredibly soapy. It's about 10 times more soapier than a bubble bath. It's really, really cleansing and good. Why I would recommend this? Because Sauvage does attempt to have that clean vibe, but it's just too scratchy and it's too metallic, and that can be a bit all over the place. If you want to take that all away and you want to add cleanliness and really boost the cleanliness, you go for Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. But if you really just want to hone in on that, then Iris Sedre could be something for you. It's a fantastic fragrance, although some of you might find it a bit basic, a bit boring, and might just be a bit too soapy, but it's quite something. So those were my 5 recommendations to you. We've got a lot of different fragrances planned for this series, but tell us what you think of this first episode, and if you liked this first episode, then hit subscribe and like, because there will be hopefully many more coming. Anyway, I'm the Fragrance Apprentice. Thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, then please subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye.